Hey guys, so I made a video a couple days ago where it was the stern talking to that you need if your manifestation is still not here. And in it, I was saying you really have to just accept that if you want something and it is not in your reality, that it is you that is preventing it from happening. It is not, and that's not saying that you don't. I want to be really fucking clear about this, because a lot of people watching my channel have been watching a lot of garbage on YouTube. I know that from having looked at the analytics in the past. That does not mean you're not believing hard enough. It doesn't mean that you're not imagining hard enough. It doesn't mean that you're not employing all the techniques hard enough. Drop the techniques. What is in your world is a reflection of you. All right? And we can't always pick apart all the ways that things come about. Somebody else left a comment saying, yeah, but we manifest stuff unconsciously all the time, blah, blah, blah. Look, you don't always understand consciously why all the random shit that's showing up in your world is showing up. But when you're focusing on a specific thing that you want that is not showing up, the explanation is always you. That's it. It has to be, because if it was natural for you to have that, you would have it. And I think something that people don't want to accept a lot of the time is that something is not natural for you to have, and that is just the fucking way it is. And you just haven't accepted yet that this thing you think you want is not something that is ever going to be natural for you to have. Sorry to say, but people do not want to be honest with themselves about who they are, what they're here for, what they really want. This is the hardest thing to do. And this is the topic of this whole video. Somebody asked on that video, I was saying, look, if you don't have something you want, you're the only one that can figure out why that is. Nobody can give you some technique. Nobody can, you're gonna have to figure. And somebody said in the comments, okay, how do I figure out what that is? How do I look for it? Because every time I look for it, there's nothing there. The only response I can give you to this, and I'm sorry, this is unsatisfying. A large part of this human journey, which includes the fact that your mind is creating everything, is that it is a solo journey. And what that means is that only you can get totally honest with yourself about who you are and what you are. And, and why you've created the identity that you've created and what you actually want that identity to be. There is often a huge disconnect between what you think you want to be and what you actually want to be. Nobody can discover that for you. You have to get really honest with yourself. That's all I can tell you. There are probably things that you have put so far away that you can barely access them, that you can barely remember them. And the only way you're ever going to get to them and understand them is to simply have an intention and have faith about it. This all comes down to that. That is the process by which things are created in this world. Defining what you want, and then having an intention to have the path to it revealed to you. That's how this works. Okay? And the little caveat in there is that you can define something that you want, rationally, consciously, whatever. If you don't actually want that, you are not going to create it. You are not going to see the path to it. Or you're going to see the path to it and intentionally not take it. This is happening all the fucking time. There are people that say they want something and the path is right there. And somebody from outside can say, hey, well, there's how you do it. And they still don't fucking do it. Why? Because they don't want to. Because it's not what they really want. Because they still have a fear about it that they're not past. Blah, 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 all day long. Literally, we could come up with examples all fucking day. Nobody can do this except for you. It's that simple. You're going to have to get honest with yourself, whatever that means. It's been a slow process for me over, like, every now and then I'll have a moment of realizing I'm completely full of shit about something relating to myself. Or I'll have this idea, I'll be thinking somebody thinks something of me, and I'll realize they don't think that. That's like a fantasy that I have about how I am. I'm not actually like that. Like, every now and then that'll come up. That's just off the top of my head. I remember, like, when I was like 30, I just remember I have this memorable moment of imagining a conversation between my dad and someone else where he was talking about me. I don't know why I was having this. And I remember just thinking, that's what I want people to think about me. That's not what people actually think about me, because that's not how I actually am. People have these whole identities made up about themselves that they think they actually are, when in reality, in like 3D physical world reality, they are nothing like that. I remember my ex saying, I keep throwing my ex under the bus. He's a great guy. I remember him talking one time about how he was really easygoing. And I was like, you are the opposite of that. How can you think that about yourself? It's like people have this idea, and this is one of the things that I think pushes people deeper into delusion, is the misunderstanding about what the law of assumption is. It doesn't mean you just make up an identity and tell yourself that's what you are, and then you're that. You have to actually become that. And I'm sorry, but this shit is not going to work for people who are not honest with themselves and who can't be, you have to make a commitment to that, a commitment to understanding yourself and knowing who you are and what you actually want. Or you're likely going to run into these roadblocks where you don't get things you think you want. And again, this is really only pertinent for people who are having problems with things, because there are a lot of ways to get things, and there are a lot of people who are totally fucked up who are amazing at getting what they want. Okay? If you personally are having a problem, take this advice. That's all I'm saying. If you're watching my channel, take this advice. If you're attracted to anything I say on my channel, you're probably a lot like me. I'm not that different from most people. I'm not a unique little, I have a lot of similar traits to a lot of people out there. That's why a lot of this stuff is going to be pertinent for a lot of people. So I don't, I was just watching, so I've been watching Long Island Medium for like the last 6 months. There are just so many episodes. I haven't gotten through them all yet. I watch like maybe 1 or 2 a day. A few days ago, the Long Island Medium was reading one of the guys that was the Bachelor. He was the Bachelor who picked one girl, and then in Bachelor history, for the first time ever, they filmed him dumping the one he picked for the runner-up. I remember this because I was watching the show at the time. I used to watch The Bachelor. And I remember thinking what an asshole this guy was. And so I'm watching, I couldn't recognize him at first. I'm like, I had to look the guy up, and I remember, okay, he was a Bachelor. And I looked him up, and I looked up the girl who he dumped, because she was then the Bachelorette. This is a long story going nowhere. This is all my justification for how I even came upon this information, okay? Somehow I ended up on another guy who was a Bachelor, and I remembered watching, I think his was the last season that I watched, and in Bachelor history, for the first time ever, it's the most dramatic moment in Bachelor history, this guy, one of the girls that he really liked, she was like one of the final 3 or 4, she just like said, you know what, I don't think this is for me, and she left. And they show him like jumping the fence and like running off into the fields of New Mexico or something, and it's a big dramatic scene because he was so upset that this girl left. And then in Bachelor history, he went and went to her hometown or something to chase her down, and leaving his other 3 chicks like, what the fuck. And he like chased after this girl, whatever. It's this big dramatic scene, and I think that was the end of the show after that. I don't really remember. Okay, the moral of the story is that guy's gay. He's married to a guy now. This was like 2016 or 17. I was still living with my ex. It couldn't have been that long ago. So it was like 2016 or 2017 when this happened. I looked the guy up for whatever reason. He's married to a dude. This was like 5 years ago. That is how fucking much people lie to themselves about who they are. This guy was the Bachelor. He hopped a fence and ran off into the fucking desert in agony when he got dumped by somebody whose gender he is not even attracted to. And now he's gay and he's married to a guy. That is the depth to which people will lie to themselves about who they are and what they want. So all I'm saying is that, I don't know. You have to make a commitment, I think, if you really want to get somewhere good with all of this, if you want to get the things you actually want and you want to be actually fulfilled and not just performing a magic trick to make something manifest in your reality and not just getting things so that you can satisfy society's expectations of you and your parents' expectations of you, and so that you can be a slave and match yourself, into the image of what every other asshole in the world expects you to be. If you want to actually get somewhere where you're personally fulfilled, at some point, you're going to have to get honest about who you are so that when you have a desire, you can understand whether or not it's something you are actually supposed to do or whether it's something that you are communicating with yourself about to say, hey, you are still oriented to the world in this warped way. Here's a desire. You're going to feel this desire now to manifest this thing in your reality, to compensate for some false, warped, wrong belief that you have about your own worth, what you need to be in order to have peace. You're not going to be able to get to the point where you can see the difference between those things unless you get really fucking honest with yourself about everything. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why that was so ranty. I don't know. I hope that helped somebody. Have a good day.